All right, greetings everyone. I want to thank everyone for joining us live here on our first esoteric podcast. I'm your host, John Yah, and I have a special guest coming up. We're going to be talking about today's topic is erectile dysfunction, a subject matter that a lot of men are going to go through if you're blessed to live to that age. So we're going to go in right into this subject. But first, I want to announce thank yous to certain people that helped make this happen. First, I want to thank Carl Price at Conscience Fever and Ice Entertainment. I want to first thank Joe Tapper, the host of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Also want to thank Frank Stoner, Health Daddy Wild, and of course, Carrie Muhammad with Ink Readable. Also, Phyllis Myers with Body Energy Works, and of course, my guest, my doctor, my teacher, and my friend, Dr. Akmal Moakil. So we're going to have a great discussion. I want to ask everyone to share, click like on this subject, and we want to definitely be able to build. I'm going to allow some comments. If you have any comments, we're going to post those comments. And so we're going to go right in. Let me bring in my brother, Dr. Akmal. Brother Akmal, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm doing very well, sir. Listen, I'm as well as God allowed me to be at this particular moment. That's all I can say about that. You
Good,
know.
good. Well, we're going to have a great build. Before we do, I would like for you to start by giving us who you are and your credentials.
All right. I'm only gonna do just a little bit of this, and people can go to the website. They got a whole bunch of stuff on it.
Okay.
I've been working within the compounds of natural medicine since 1974. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I got a PhD in nutrition. I've written 5 books, and I've helped numerous of people to rebalance their life. My whole piece is about the rejuvenation of life, and we can rejuvenate life all the time. It's just about what we do that is causing us not to be feeling well. And so because of that, I've helped a lot of people. I've taught them, I've treated them, and that's about it that I can think about.
Okay. Okay.
Like I said, you want more information about who I am and what I've done and how I've done what I've done. Go to the website. That'll give you more information. The more I talk here about that, the less information I might be able to give you about the subject matter we're talking about.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Erectile dysfunction. ED. What is that?
First off, it isn't dysfunction. Okay, that's not happening.
Okay.
It's erection functioning, and it's functioning in the manner that that your body's allowing it to function because of what you're putting in it. So it's not really a dysfunction, um, and it's not really about a erection, and what they say about erection is that it's when the penis is not able to erect and stand up in the manner that it should as a man of whatever age. And so that's not really what it is. That's what we look at. We look at the low testosterone, people who have taken meds, people who are overweight, people who have other kinds of health challenges, which causes the penis not to rise. That's basically what it is. Your penis is not doing what it's supposed to do, and it's supposed to stand up. When we were young men, we're still young. No matter how old you get, you're still young. But when we were younger men, you know, we would have the piece where we wake up in the morning, it would be standing straight up in the air. You know, and as we age, a whole lot of things that used to stand up don't stand up no more. They start to fall down. And so, you know, the penis is the same, especially if you don't take care of your body. You know, see, because like I said, it's not about the penis being able to erect. It's about what the body's doing. You know, a lot of people, you know, are looking at, well, my penis ain't rising, so I need to go to the drugstore, the pharmacy, or the doctor, or whoever, and get something for that. And you know, you're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, so to speak, because it's not about the function of the penis. It's about the function of your health. It's about what you're eating, what you're thinking, how you're moving through the earth. You know, what it is that you're doing, what kind of clothes you're wearing. For instance, you know, men shouldn't wear jockey shorts, you know, because the penis should not be squashed up against the scrotum, and the scrotum up against the perineum, which means it's close to your body. You know, you're supposed to wear boxer shorts, okay, so that it can hang, because it's supposed to hang. See, you know, the stimulation of life has to do with the fact of how and why your penis would either rise or won't rise. It's about how you cultivate your body. You have some people who are bodybuilders, okay, and they buffed and all of this here, and their penis won't rise. Okay. You have people who are 70, 80 years old, and their penis rise like the flagpole. You got to ask yourself why. What's that about? See, that's about three things. That's about mental, physically, and spiritually. That's what that's about. See, because if we understand how to pull those three principles together, then we don't have this piece we call ED. When you start talking about it mentally, you got to talk about the fact of your emotions. See, because emotions play part in that. Now, I don't mean to offend anybody, and if there's some ladies on, I apologize for anything that I'm going to say that's in the realm of what men talk about. So please, queens, forgive me for what I'm going to say. So when a brother or man in general who is attracted to females, or he's attracted to another male, the first thing that happens is that fantasy. You know, when you see a sister walking down the street, for the men who into women, you know, what is the first thing we're looking at? Their assets. And then their assets, as we watch their assets walk by, what happens? What happens is that now we in our imagination. Woo, what I could do with that. Okay. So now we're trying to stimulate a movement that's going on in our lower half of our body. So the mental piece is there. Same thing in the bedroom. When we get to the affairs of the bedroom, what happens? What now happens is the fact that now the mental capacity goes where? It goes between her legs. And in dealing with that, now the pieces is that now the emotions of excitement comes. And that excitement now begins to trigger hormones and thought patterns. And if you're real excited, you will find yourself ejaculating before you get to start the act. That's emotional.
Let me ask you something. Is there a difference between getting an erection, being able to get one, and holding the erection? A lot of times, if a male ejaculates too fast, we always have women will definitely talk about a brother. He done ejaculated before she even got started, even liking it. Are they both in the same?
They are.
Okay.
See, because they are, because of the fact that you're talking about emotions. You're talking about the fact that here this brother has placed these emotions in his head about what's between her legs. So for the moment that he's thinking about, he's standing tall and ready. But the more his mind plays with him, the more the blood circulates in his penis, and the more that he then has the inoculation. And so by the time he gets to where he wanted to go to start with her, what happens is that now he's not able to perform because of the fact that his penis went soft.
Mm.
And that's out of emotion. That's out of emotions. See, so emotions play a large part of that, as well as the physical. When we start talking about it from a physical perspective, we have to talk about the fact that it's about what you eat, and it's about what you wear, and it's about how you treat your body. See, because if you don't treat your body well, then you can't expect for that to continue to work for you.
Okay.
When you start to treat your body well, which means that you're eating foods that are nourishing, that have a good nutritional value. Okay. When you're eating foods that are not coming out of the fast food restaurant, when you're eating foods that you're preparing, or your woman's preparing, or somebody's preparing them for you that loves you. Okay. What happens is now you're building the nutritional values of your body. See, because of the fact that what you have to look at is you have to look at not only is this mental, but the physical part of that is about the minerals and the vitamins that your body needs in order for that erection to happen. You have to understand the fact that if your heart is not functioning in the manner that it should, then it's not going to circulate the blood. If the kidneys, for instance, and in traditional Chinese medicine, the kidneys have to deal with the fact of reproduction. It has to deal with everything we have to do with reproduction, and down to the sound. Okay, that groaning sound, that's the sound of the kidneys.
Wow. Okay.
That's what that is. That's the sound of the kidneys. That's the sound of the kidneys that's pushing that spirit out, so that if there's a spirit in the ethers that's looking for that specific vibration, that woman winds up getting pregnant. Okay, that's what that does. You see, so when you start looking at that, you got to look at the fact that now it's about what you put into your body. Some of the brothers may be trying to alkalize their body a lot, and that's a good thing. However, your sperm is acidic. Her vaginal fluids are acidic. And the way that your sperm gets through that acidicness is that the prostate wraps it in alkalinity, so that when it gets to her vagina and goes inside of the vagina, what happens is that it can float to the eggs without being stopped, because of it mashes together because of the acidicness of both places. You see, so it's about what you eat. It's about what you put into your body. If you're eating, if for instance, if a male is craving sweets, Well, that's the first sign of him being malnourished.
Mm.
And so malnourishment means that now you're susceptible to erectile dysfunction because you need some magnesium. Magnesium has to make sure that the muscles are strong and the muscles do what they need to do. Well, your penis is a muscle.
Okay. Mm.
You see? And so if you got enough magnesium, then what will happen is that now the vitamin D that is needed, because the vitamin D helps the circulation. Okay. Then the vitamin D comes in and it helps the penis to stand up. But you need those two together in order for that to happen. That's one thing. The other piece of that is the factor that your erections come from your DNA, come from your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents. Okay. That's where that comes from.
So it is sort of hereditary.
It is. Mm-hmm. It can be. If grandpa fathered 15 children and your father was the 14th, that means that your father didn't have enough jing from your grandfather. Jing is your essence of life. That's what happens when you ejaculate and you wind up going to sleep. You shouldn't be going to sleep after you ejaculate. Okay? If you understand and balance your body right, you don't go to sleep after you ejaculate. Matter of fact, you get energized. Okay? See, so when you start looking at the factor of grandpa, you got to look at grandpa through your kidneys, because your kidneys rule your bones, and your bones maintain your DNA and your stem cells. Your DNA is all them people that walked that path before you. But the kidneys, the bones, have to do with how your reproductive system functions. How you're able to maintain that erection. Because as we age, the kidneys reduce as well as the reproductive system reduces.
So what about age? Is there a certain age that people begin to have this problem when it's natural? Because you got guys who are in their 20s having the problem now. So is that connected to the diet to be having ED so young in their 30s and 40s and some in their 20s? I mean, I see guys buying sex pills in just regular stores now. Just the regular grocery stores got sex pills and they're selling it like hotcakes. Are these guys trying to do extra, or are they having that dysfunction?
What's happening is that the garbage that they're eating, that they're calling food, okay, what that garbage is doing for them is not giving them the nutritional value that they need. I would probably guarantee that them same guys is going in, getting them sex pills and drinking these what's it called, Red Bull, all of those kind of drinks, and them drinks, oh, they weigh heavily on your reproductive system. Okay, but I would imagine that these same people, you would see them having sweet cravings. Okay. Yeah, they would probably have the sex pills in one hand and a bunch of junk in another hand. And so if that's what's happening now what's going on is the factor that now they soldiers ain't marching. See, anytime a brother has his hair either starts to recede or he goes bald before he's 57 years old, that's talking about the fact that his kidneys are not functioning in the manner that they should for his reproductive system. And so because it's not doing that, now what's happening is that now as he ages, he now begins to have an issue with that. You're supposed to be 90 years old and still hard as a rock.
Wow.
You see? But because of the fact of the food, because of the factor that the attitude, for instance, a lot of brothers got a lot of anger going on. Well, that anger interferes with the factor that the liver has to provide the blood, which it stores, has to provide the blood so that the blood now can circulate in the penis from the heart. But if there's anger there, that's going to block that. So now the heart's pumping and the heart's trying to pump that blood down into the penis. And what's happening? What's happening is that ain't happening. You see? So, or they're eating this fast food, and the fast food is clogging their arteries by way of the small intestines. And if that's the case, then this is what's happening. What's happening is that waste dropping into their blood, and as it drops into that blood, they're blocking the blood vessels. That's why we have some young people who are having heart attacks now.
So the organs are playing a role. Are there any signs that becomes before we have the problem of ED? Are there any signs that connected to the organs that someone can say, I'm going to have that problem, or that's the problem I'm having?
Well, the thing is this. The thing is that it depends on a lot of different things. It depends on how often you use it, how often you ejaculate. Okay. It depends on what you're eating. You know, that's a major piece of it, because your body needs those nutrients. Okay. It depends on what you're thinking about, how you're thinking about it. Okay. Who you're working with it. Okay. See, because, you know, it might be a one night stands and you like, cool, but it might not be a one night stands. And so if you into a relationship and you and the sister, and I'm a work with it with women, although I know there's some men who are into men, but you and the sister are having issues that can affect your erection. If you slipping out on the sister, that can affect your erection with her. Okay, because of the fact that your energy ain't with her, your energy is over here. And so because your energy is over here, when you and her get ready to get down, it's like, okay, so if it sticks up, it sticks up. If it don't, it don't. I want to go over to Mary's house. Okay, you see. And then it also has to do with the piece of men masturbating.
Okay.
See, because when you masturbate, you're losing your seed, so you're losing your life force, and so as you lose your life force, you're also tearing down your health. See, so you gotta understand the factors of what's happening and what happens when you start talking about erectile dysfunction. Because if you ain't putting in what you need for it to maintain its ability, it's functioning. And it's functioning at the capacity that it should.
So that question about masturbation. So masturbation, for a man to masturbate, that's a different mentality to actually having sexual intercourse.
It is. And the difference is physical, because mentally you can take your mind any way you want it to go.
Right.
But there's a difference. There's a difference when a man or when a person maintains the balance of their self in that manner, and then when they're with a partner. See, because what happens, women lose their jing, and when we talk about fertility next week, I'm gonna talk about this, but women lose their essence of life every time they're pregnant and they deliver. That's why every time we ejaculate, we go to sleep, which is no conspiracy. We go to sleep because of the fact that we just gave away our life force. And because we haven't cultivated our body, now what's happening? Now what happens is the fact that we can't do anything else but go to sleep, because the body said, yo, you gave it up, didn't you? You sure did. Well, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. you ain't going nowhere. So lay over here and start snoring.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you like, are you for real? What's this about? So yeah, I'm all any sisters that's on. There's no conspiracy when the brother go to sleep like that. That just said that his body's out of order, and his body's trying to get back into order.
Okay.
See, so if we begin to understand, the fact of that the only animals in God's kingdom that has sex are humans. I'm gonna turn the heat down and think about that. The only animals in God's kingdom that has sex are humans.
Okay.
Everybody else works for procreation.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
We work for pleasure.
Right. Okay.
You see that booty go down the street, it's like, woo, look at here, look at here. Yo, can I get your number? It ain't about, well, you be my wife and have my children and we grow old together. No. See. So because of that, a lot of times that also affects erectile dysfunction. See, because of the fact that it's in some cases about bing bang, thank you, ma'am. And so as we do that, what happens is now in our psyche, something else starts to happen. So later on down the road, because I have some patients who are women who ask me about what their man can do to stiffen that up, and these young men. So when we look at that, we have to look at the factor that, first off, is that we're chemists. And our body is a chemistry factory. And that factory needs to do certain things to produce. If we are unable to produce what is needed, then the body don't function the way it's supposed to. The other piece of that is this. When we start looking at that in that manner, we also have to look at the fact that it takes us away from our spirit. Spirit is the value of the kidneys. Why? Why would the kidneys be the value of spirit? Because of the fact that the only way that a woman gets pregnant is not necessarily through a sperm and an egg, but through the harmonization of spirit.
The vibration.
That's it. Because you're bringing another life force into the universe. You see? I mean, and so when you start to talk about bringing in another life into the universe, you can't just go and pick up some stuff at the grocery store and say, we're going to put this together, put that together, we're going to have another human being. No. That human interaction is what happens. And so when we start looking at that, we have to look at the fact of several things. So one, I'm going to go back to the anger piece, because the anger shuts the liver down. And when it shuts the liver down, what happens? Now the liver blood is not able to circulate, but also the liver now starts to insult the kidneys. The kidneys are your foundation. That's your foundation of life, because that came from your ancestors. It's real interesting because the Asians in Chinese medicine, they look at the penis as the ancestral connection. And when you understand that, you got to look at that, because that means that men We start life. Okay, that's our job, to start it. Women nurture life. Okay, and that's what they do. Women nurture. Well, let me put it like this: growing up in the 50s, women would nurture. I saw a lot of nurturing of life from women. So we dropped the seed, and brothers, any of you that has dropped a seed in a woman and that seed has matured, that's your wife spiritually, because she carried your seed. So if that's the case, then there's a relationship there. But you have to have that same relationship with your body, so that your spirit can continue to move you forward, so that your spirit can continue to allow for the erection to happen. You know, because basically the erection, just like the rest of your body, needs blood, nutrients. Those are the two things it needs. If it's not getting those, then the energy that it possesses doesn't happen. And so then you go off into the factor of all these other things that you got to buy. And the interesting thing is that a lot of stuff that's on the market is just about for testosterone. An erection is more than testosterone. Erection is about how you feel about yourself. Yeah. What is it that you think you know about yourself? That's an erection. Erection is about how far can I get in life? See, that's what erection is about. Because we're erecting, when you put it on another level, we are erecting our walk in life. So if we in the mode of bing bang, thank you, ma'am, just think about how you're walking. Okay. And think about the fact that every time you drop your seed, you drop in part of your life.
Yes, right.
And so as you continue to drop the part of your life, what happens? What now begins to happen is that now things start to stop working, which now, you know, we call it ED.
So a man's purpose in entering a woman plays a great role in what can happen, whether that child is produced or not. In other words, his mentality. If he's just in there for the moment and just in there not to produce, in other words, is that sperm affected, or is that sperm actually affected by the way he's thinking?
And it is. You know, we got to look at another piece of that too, is the factor that when a brother gets with a sister and they get ready to get down, his mind goes to where? His mind goes to, how soon can I get this nut? Okay. Not, how can we move into this rhythm together? See, because it's about rhythm. Okay. That's why a lot of sisters are frustrated, because the brother ain't doing his job. You see, the brother go in there and hit it once or twice and then he done. And the sister like, yo, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, what happened? And so if the brother see the sister with a toy, he gonna be like, I ain't good enough for you. Well, listen, you know, You ain't did what you're supposed to do. Why? Because of the factor that what we're looking at is we're looking at the factor that his mind isn't on the relationship that's going on.
Okay. Okay.
His mind is on what he can get and how soon he can get it.
Mm.
You see. From the old side of school, folks then got marginalized and they do a whole bunch of other stuff. But from the old side of school, what we used to do is we used to do what was called foreplay. Foreplay stimulates your penis as it does her clitoris. See? And so without that, without that, it's a little strange. Because of the fact that that's what sets the mood. My parents were real interesting because, my father would walk by my mother and pinch her on the ass or pat her, and I would say, man, why don't y'all stop that? But I understood because one of the times we was in the alley together with him and his boys drinking, they told me why they did that. Yeah. That's how we keep the relationship going with our woman. That's how we keep the stimulation going so that when we got in the bed with the woman, we were able to keep things up and going.
Okay.
See, because it's about touch. Yeah. It's about how you touch a woman. Because you could touch a woman and she send your penis hard just like this here. But you also got to deal with your health. You got diabetes, hypertension, multiple sclerosis. You got you got any type of health challenges, or you're taking medication, that's going to cut that down.
Okay.
So you need to do several things. One of them is you need to clean your liver. And spring is the liver detox time. You need to eat foods that are in season. See, because if you do that, then what happens is that now you're building your nutritional values. Understand the fact that what will allow for erectile dysfunction to become something other than that, you need to be able to put nutrients into your body so that they can support you. See, you can't be eating at howdy doody doos and woody woodies and think that you're gonna get what you need so that you can keep an erection. So the erection doesn't dysfunction.
Right.
It doesn't. It's functioning. It's doing exactly what you're giving it to do. That's like if you got a Mercedes Benz and the manufacturer says put premium gas in there and you put regular in there, it's going to cough and spit and hop and do all of those other kinds of things. And so what happens now is that now you're in a place where the erection isn't happening because it's not being supported. And see, weed's real interesting. Weed's real interesting because weed goes in and opens up the digestive tract. That's why if you smoke weed, sometimes you might find yourself right after you smoke that weed, you got to go and drop a load in the toilet. Okay, so depending on the type of weed that they smoke now, will depend on the factor of how your blood's going to circulate. See, because weed can cause blood to circulate. Why you think sometimes you smoke that weed and you be, yeah, I just want to chill out. You're chilling out because now the body's done shut itself down. So depending on how much weed you smoke will depend on the factor of whether or not that weed shut your erection down as well. Alcohol does the same thing. Alcohol, if you drink too much alcohol, because of the way it stimulates the liver, it'll shut your penis down.
Let me ask you a question about the marijuana piece. You know, when you smoke marijuana and you have the cravings to eat starchy food, tater chips and stuff. It's not like you have a if they call it the munches. You have the munches, but you're not like you eating fruits. It gives you the munches to eat tater chips. Now, when you eat these foods, what happens is that the body, it's almost like your stomach, everything in your blood, everything about your body sends the blood to that area of the stomach. It is as though, as I was reading about, it pulls the blood from the brain because it's trying to get that THC out of the brain. That's why you start eating. You want the munches so that it can pull that THC out of the brain because every time you eat starchy food, your body sends blood to your stomach. So is that an effect on the erection when the body is pulling blood to the area of the stomach so that it can release the THC from the brain?
Okay, so let me ask a question. So are you talking about here on the left quadrant, or are you talking down here in the belly area?
Down here in the belly area.
Okay, so let me stop.
The cravings of it.
That's not your stomach.
Okay.
Your stomach is here.
Right.
Okay. This is your small intestines. The small intestines job is this. On one side, it's a garbage dump. On the other side, it's it's where we get our nutrients. What happens is that the spleen and the stomach, which have to deal with the digestive system, what happens is that once you deal with that, it starts to balance the digestive tract. As it does that, it causes the appetite to rise.
Okay.
When that appetite rises, it wants its starches because starch is about energy. Okay. And so now you need energy because of the way that you've relaxed the energy that you've been dealing with. So what it does is that now it increases that need for you to have some energy. That's what that is. And so when you start looking at that, you also look at the fact that it causes contractions of the intestinal tract. That's why a lot of times you smoke a weed and you run into the bathroom. And that's because now you created that whole digestive piece. And that whole digestive piece say, oh yeah, let's move out what's should not be in here at the moment. Okay. You know, that kind of thing is what happens with that, because it can cause you to lack energy. Now it depends on, the weed that is being produced now is unlike the weed back in the 60s.
Okay, exactly. Yeah.
You get you some weed back in the 60s, you'd be good. Yeah, you'd had the munchies though. You definitely had the munchies, but you'd be good. But this weed here is different. And so it's going to affect your body differently.
Yeah.
The brother said about the sister tapping out early. Well, you see, when you got a sister that taps out early, that's a good thing because of the fact that says that you did your job. See, I mean, and that's the piece of that, but women who have poor eating habits, and I'll get into that next week, but women who have poor eating habits, they also wind up having issues. Okay. And their issues become more severe than ours, and so, we have to look at the factor that we have to look at the factor that it is about what we eat. It's about what we consume. It's about what we absorb and what we're able to understand about what it is that we absorb. Because with it happening, what happens now is that now the body is functioning at a point where it really could cause it to go either way, depending on your eating. And as I said earlier about the mental piece, that it's all mental. From the time you see the sister to the time that you and her are going through them sounds within the bedroom. It's all about mental, because when you see her, you got to deal with the fact that when you see a woman and you see her and you like her, now here comes all kinds of things in your mind as to what this is going to be about. And one of the things that we look at, you know, most people look at, you don't have to, but most people look at is the fact that if I see that woman and she looking good, my mind's going straight to two places. Let me see what those two places look like and see if that's going to satisfy what I think I'm looking for. And so those are her assets. So that whole piece is about a mental piece. You know, the real piece about that is the factor that if we took off the factor of her assets and dealt strictly with her mind, we'd maintain a hard erection. Okay, because it wouldn't be that we're going after her assets. It would be that we're going after her mind. Because anytime a relationship starts, you got to deal with the factor that if the relationship gets deep enough, that's going to automatically happen at some point. Okay. But if that's the piece that you're looking at, then it's like, you know, your mental capacity is only on her assets. And so you gotta deal with that in another different way. That's why some men have pre-ejaculations, because of the fact that their mental capacity has overpowered them. Okay. Yeah. That's why some men can get in there and stay a half a second and they're gone. You know,
and women hate that. Oh, they hate that.
Oh, no question. Oh, no question. That's, oh, listen, that ain't nice at all to them. You know, I mean, and so, you know, there's things that we can do, you know, folic acid. Okay. Folic acid is wonderful for us to get that. B vitamins in general, the B complex in general, because of the fact that it deals with the central nervous system. First off, it increases the flow of blood. Second, the third piece of that is the fact that it aids in circulation of nutrients, and it breaks down certain kinds of elements in the body, like homeocysteine. Homeocysteine is what causes us to have heart attacks. Homeocysteine is part of what happens with heart attacks and strokes, those kinds of things. And the heart has to pump that blood and them rich nutrients into the penis in order for the penis to be functioning in such a manner where the body now is able to either have that function of that hard erection or reduce that function of a hard erection. So when we start looking at that, we got to look at the factor of folic acid. Now, you can go and buy folic acid. If you buy folic acid, then the folic acid should have magnesium with it so that they both work simultaneously, as well as vitamin D. Okay. But you want to, you know, you can get folic acid from foods like dark green vegetables, avocados. Avocados is good because of the fact that avocados also gives you an omega-3 fatty acids, and those fatty acids help with the building of hormones. Okay. Okra. Okra is another one that's going to give you B vitamin C, and it's going to help to maintain erections. Cauliflower, cruciferous vegetables. What if you stay erected?
Stay erected too long.
What's considered normal? See, I can't tell you what's too long. Okay, because your body deals with it in such a way where your body understands when it needs to get hard, and it understands when it needs to relax. And that's a personal thing. Society in which we live in is always trying to get us to say when this should happen, when that should happen, when this should happen, when this. And the fact is that if you understand and listen to your body will begin to tell you when that should happen. Going back to the nutrients, B12. Okay, B12 is wonderful, but it has to come with the B complex, and the B12 should be sublingual, so that it means you put it under your tongue. Okay. And so when you're taking the B12, that's going to boost the blood. That's going to help the liver to boost the blood. That's going to help the liver to circulate the blood so that the heart gets the blood. CoQ10. CoQ10 is another one, because when you take CoQ10, what happens is CoQ10 helps the arrhythmia of the heart so that the heart is able to pump that blood. See, because it's all about the characteristics of your blood. It's all about how your blood is being pumped through your systems. It's all about how much nutrients are in your blood, okay, how much are not, your age. As we age, everything starts to fall down that used to stand up. So when you start to get, like I said, you should not even think about seeing that kind of activity until you're 57 years old. If you're seeing that activity before then you have an issue with your kidneys, which could be a hereditary, but you also have an issue that has the ability to be reversed. But it's about what you do in order to reverse that. Niacin is another one. Niacin is another vitamin that works well. And the niacin you want to make sure that the niacin has it says flush, and that flush is going to get your ears to be flushed and your face flushed, but that tells you that it's circulating. And you probably don't want to take more than 200 milligrams or 250 milligrams or something of that nature. Vitamin D, the recommendations for vitamin D is 800 IUs.
Yeah.
And with the vitamin D, you want to be able to take magnesium, but you also want to make sure that you take that in with a fatty food.
I want to do a piece with you about vitamin D, magnesium, and calcium. I want to do a separate piece because that's a very important subject. A lot of people think about taking vitamin D and thinking 5,000 EU.
Yeah, and it's going to jack up their body. Okay, it's going to jack up their body. And see, what people don't understand is that when you take minerals and vitamins, which are called micronutrients, what happens with that is the fact that they all work synergistically. So when you put that vitamin D in, you need vitamin C, calcium, magnesium, boron, and potassium.
So that helps the vitamin D to absorb into your body, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
You see, through your small intestines, so that it gets into your blood, so that now what it does is it goes into the stem cells and it begins to work with your DNA, and it begins to work with your stem cells, and it increases and builds the immune system.
Okay. Yeah. Another question about men's testosterone. What role does that play if the testosterone level is low in ED?
It can play a lot because of the factor that, let me put it like this here. So here you are trying to light a fire with a wet match. Okay. And that's what happened with low testosterone. That's what's happening. You trying to light a fire with a wet match. Now, you might be a magician and get that bad boy to start up in fire. But the reality of that is that that's not going to happen. And so low testosterone, that's where things like folic acid come in. Okay. Folic acid and zinc together. Okay. That's where that comes in. That builds the sperm count. That builds the testosterone. So that now what happens is the body is functioning in the manner that it should.
Do men naturally lose testosterone with age?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. We also in some cases lose bone density. That's why you have people who are my age or older, you know, they wind up having knee replacements, hip replacements. And a lot of that is because they're not getting the calcium, the magnesium, and the vitamin D into the bones. Mm. And so as you age, you need to put those things in, and you need to correct digestion. So the first thing that I say to anybody that has ED is first begin to work on your digestive tract. Second, which means that you're going to take enzymes and probiotics. Second, deal with your mental capacity. Okay. Yeah. Really deal with the factor of when you get into that situation where you're going to make love to a woman, put your whole body in it, put everything into that. Don't put your mind into the fact that how soon can I get this nut off?
Does that play a role with men being able to walk away from their child after they produce it and not have a real connection to it?
Not really. That, you know, that has some other implications when men walk away. It could be the factor that a man doesn't know how to deal with responsibility.
Okay.
It could be a factor that no one's trained that male how to be a man to take care of his child.
Okay.
It could be a factor that person is young and don't realize the significance of what their responsibility is. So there's a whole lot of reasons why. One of the reasons why our families have been distraught in the way that they have of the separation from the male and the female, it was called welfare. Okay, because back in the 50s and the 60s, women were getting welfare, and so when you got welfare, the brother couldn't be there. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so it kind of got where that's how women started to become heads of households. And then as we moved further this way, we didn't, you know, some of us didn't teach young men what it was to be a man. Okay, outside the fact of checking booty. Mm. You know, that's why now, you know, there's a lot of derogative statements about women. Okay, and so the piece of that is that all of that is interplaying with the factor of how a man deals with an erection. Mm. See, we look at, some of us look at that as that, you know, that's the basis of our manhood. Okay, and that's not really true. That's secondary or third, but the basis of our manhood is the strength of our health. That's the basis, because we have to be physically strong, we have to be mentally strong, we have to be spiritually strong. When we have those three pieces together, what happens? What happens now is that now we can do the things that we know that we should do as men. And so that fat behind doesn't cause us to deal with the factor of what we're dealing with women. Estrogen shuts down testosterone. Okay, that's what estrogen does. You know, we have now as men, we have a percentage of estrogen because that's balancing. Okay, you know, you can understand that life is about balancing. So that's balancing. but too much estrogen will suffocate testosterone.
So actually women have more estrogen than men.
Right.
And the balance is that if we eat foods high in estrogen, that lowers our testosterone.
It can.
Wow.
Absolutely. Okay. Because of the fact that we're taking it, we're exceeding our limit of the estrogen that our body needs. That's like women's bodies need testosterone, but it don't need a whole lot of it.
Right.
So a lot of times you'll see women who have excess, and when they have excess, you'll see hair in places that it shouldn't be. Okay, because of the fact that they have more testosterone than they should have, and they have less estrogen. So it's about the balance in the chemistry. If we understand the chemistry, what happens is that we then begin to understand how to create that balance. Vitamin E helps the cells. Helps the cells to maintain their nutritional value. It helps the blood to move along. It breaks up blood clots. It definitely invigorates sexual activity. Okay, vitamin E. Foods like spinach and carrots and apples, all of those kinds of things are foods that increase erections. An aphrodisiac. Most people eat it and don't even realize it's an aphrodisiac. Steel cut oats. They're an aphrodisiac. So they're good for an erection. That might be why grandpa had erection all of those years, because of the fact that grandpa was eating that oatmeal every morning.
Okay.
And coming home looking at mama talking about, yeah, mama, listen, what you gonna do tonight? How you gonna do this? Listen, that kind of thing, because papa been eating them oats, I mean, same thing with tomatoes. Tomatoes have lycopene. Lycopene helps to reduce prostate issues. And also you want to put zinc in there because zinc, not only does zinc work with our testicles, but zinc also helps to build our immune system, because our erection also has to deal with the fact of our immune system. When you have diabetes or you have hypertension, your immune system's compromised. So now what happens is that now you begin to find that you're not able to have an erection.
Okay.
Same thing happens when you're overweight. You see, because of the fact that you have too much waste in the body and not enough nutrients. And if your belly is protruding, that's an issue. So that's an issue that could possibly turn into ED, because you got a lot of waste sitting in your abdomen. And so when we start looking at ED, we really got to look at the fact of how do we balance the body. I mean, that's the piece in itself.
That's the piece, right?
Okay, how do we balance the body? People need to understand their blood type, because that's the fuel that's running you. Okay. It ain't the fact that whether you're vegan or you're meat eater, it's about what is your blood talking about. Because if your blood is not getting the nutrients because you're a vegan and you're supposed to have a piece of meat every once in a while, well, what happens now is that now you may find yourself having an erectile dysfunction. Because you're not feeding your blood what it needs. If you're a heavy meat eater and your blood tells you that you should be a vegetarian or vegan, and you eating the meat, that could start to slow down your heart rate or slow down the circulation of blood. So now you have a erectile dysfunction.
What about let me ask you this question about Is ED similar to menopause?
It could, yeah, it's in that category. Okay. It's in that category. And Oz, wow, the name of it's in there. It'll come out in a minute. But Oz is different. Okay. And a lot of times with ours, one of the things that happens is that when we go into menopause, what is it called? It's in here. It's somewhere in there. What one of the things is that when we go into it, we sometimes become distant. We sometimes become depressed. Okay. We sometimes become irritated quick, because now the liver is hot. The liver blood is hot, and that liver blood
Did I lose you, Doc? Let's see if we can get him back. Maybe we had a connection problem. Okay, let's see here. Let's get him back in. Okay. Look like we lost the doc. Let me see if he can get back in here. Okay, let's see. Where you at, brother? We lost you, brother. Bear with me. Let me try to get the brother back. I think his connection got cut off. Huh. Well, looks like we lost the brother. We're going to try to get him back in here. Okay. All right. Not yet. Okay, here he come.
Apologize for that.
That's okay.
Something happened, the lights went off and went on,
Okay.
and so it had to reboot itself.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was.
Well, let's go here. About the prostate. And the prostate is where, you know, of course, it builds the mucus to create the sperm. So now there is a element where you can actually have an erection and have ejaculation, but no sperm come out? What is that?
So that's Jing. That means that what that means is that you don't have enough nutrients to produce sperm. And so when you ejaculate, what happens is you feel it, but you don't have anything to produce because you don't have enough nutrients in that to manufacture the prostate fluid. Okay. And so because of that, now what happens is that now you don't have now you're not going to have that. That's just like the factor of with the prostate, how you can actually, there's a technique called ejaculation. Okay. Where if you ever tried that, a woman will never. If you learn how to do that, a woman may never get any more sperm from you.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Ejaculation.
That means that instead of you allowing for it to come out of your penis, you bring it back into your body.
Right.
Okay. And so that's a whole different kind of feeling. But
that takes really mental control to be able to do that.
But it does.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It definitely does. You know, you sometimes with it, you'd have to go bring it back from the head of your penis back inside of your body.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of different techniques that are used. And the Asians, they've explored a whole bunch of different elements of that. And with that being the case, what happens is that when you learn to do that, what happens is that comes back inside, and you get a feeling that's very powerful, very powerful, and your energy changes. Okay. You know, and so someone asked about soy and testosterone. You know, we need to learn, society needs to learn how to eat foods in seasons. Okay. Because when you eat foods out of season, those foods can poison you. And they could be organic, but they can poison you because of the fact that they're out of season. So, soy is one of those types of foods. It depends on how you eat it and in what form it's in, for you to eat it, for it to be beneficial for you. That's like when you eat it fermented. Well, fermented, it goes in and it works in the intestinal tract. But you should not eat too much of soy. We've been taught through the internet and through people who deal with healthcare that soy is a wonderful food for us. It is, but we have to understand how to eat it. For instance, when you eat soy in the summer, you can eat things like tofu. You can eat things like what's it called? Netta. Okay. In the wintertime, you would eat miso. Okay. Because miso is going to give you the nutrients that you need, and it's going to break down evenly because of the fact that in the wintertime, the digestive tract slows down. So the miso now is going to give you the nutrients or the phytonutrients that's in it, but you shouldn't be eating too much of it. Okay. So that it doesn't cause an issue with testosterone. See, we have to understand it, and I'm going back to something I said earlier. We have to understand that we're chemists, and the body is a chemistry factory. And because the body is a chemistry factory, everything that we intake, we wear, even the clothes that we wear. What happens with that? What happens with that is the fact that all of that affects how our body functions. Spicy foods open up the lungs. The lungs build the chi and keep the chi moving. So the spicy foods are going to create circulation of the blood. However, it depends on how much spicy food you're eating and what type of spicy food you're eating and when you're eating those spicy foods. See, because again, you got to go to that whole piece of seasons. When you eat it when you eat it in the summertime, for instance, you wouldn't eat a lot of spicy foods in the summertime unless it's cultural for you. Okay. If it's not cultural for you, then you would eat foods that have warmness to them or more coolness because of the fact that that's the fieriest time of the year. The wintertime, you would eat heavy spices so that you keep that circulation going. Because in the summertime, you got circulation. In the springtime, you would eat some spicy foods because that's a cleansing, that's a detoxifying season.
Okay.
That's just like the fall is a cleansing season. So those are seasons where you would eat it moderately. Okay. And in the spring, in the springtime, in the summertime, you wouldn't eat it a lot because of the fact that have you ever eaten spicy food and all of a sudden you broke out in sweat? That's because of the fact that the spicy food put that pressure on your heart, and your heart began to put the pressure on the lungs, and the lungs open the pores of the skin, and you start sweating. Cayenne capsicum is a good herb for ED because it increases circulation. But again, depending on what you're dealing with. For instance, if the liver blood is high, and it's hot, you don't want to put a whole lot of capsicum in there or any spicy foods because it's going to make more heat. That heat from it is going to then begin to cause fatigue. And that fatigue could be a fatigue that causes you to have erectile dysfunction. And so when you start looking at that, for instance, in the summertime, if you use it in the summertime, use a pinch of it. Use it as an accelerator because now you're using it as medicine, okay, opposed to you using it as a food. We have to understand what foods to use as medicine at what season, okay, and what foods to use as foods. If you do soy in the wintertime, you have to ask yourself, is this a food? Am I using this for a food or am I using this for medicine? Because if you're using it for medicine, then what it's going to do is it's going to go in and help maintain the healthy bacteria in your small intestines. If it's for food, then it could lower your testosterone. You see, I mean, so you gotta really begin to deal with the foods that you eat and eat them in season. People can go to my website and they can extract a seasonal chart, okay, of the foods that you eat for each season, because of the fact that that's really how our forefathers and our ancestors dealt. Our ancestors didn't eat food that came 5,000 miles away from them. They ate foods that were right there local, in their vicinity, whether they gardened them or whether they went down the road to the farmer. We eating foods for everywhere. That's another cause of ED. You see, and you got to understand, and we putting all these foods together. Food combining is really powerful in terms of how the body heals. Okay, because thank you. I, thank you. But adiposity, but the the foods that we're eating now are foods that one come from somewhere else. Two, they're growing in areas that are not the same as the energy of your body. Okay. Three, they're not being cultivated in the same way that our ancestors' food was cultivated. So, with all of that happening, what are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that the body is responding to what we're putting in it.
Okay.
And so when we start talking about ED, what happens? What happens to us is the factor that we then wind up not being functional. Again, if a person is craving sweets, it's malnutrition. If you crave salt, if you're craving salt, if you eat something with salt in it and you can taste it and it's irritating to you, that talks about the imbalancing of your kidneys.
Okay.
Okay. If you're gravitating to oils and sour foods, that's talking about the balance of your liver. See, so each one of the organs has their own balance. So when we start talking about kidneys, you know, we gotta go back to the fact that the kidneys are our main source of reproduction. And our kidneys have to do with whether we get an erection, our sperm count, and whether a woman is able to conceive. Our kidneys take us from life to death. Our kidneys work within the compounds of our ancestralhood, because of the fact that when a man releases his seed, he's releasing the balance of his life force that came from his ancestors.
Mm.
And if we go back into history, we probably would not find this particular disharmony within the lives within the lives of the men in our family, in our bloodline, because of the fact that they ate foods that coordinated with their body, even though they were under a lot of stress. Just think about the fact that if we go back in the history and into some families, some of them families had 20 children.
Yeah.
Okay. What was Pop doing that kept him that strong for that long?
Mm.
You see? But because of the fact of the foods that we eat, and we as people don't know how to eat, we mixing all kinds of stuff together. And the body's trying to figure out, what the hell is this? And if you're a person who has to have them energy drinks, you're killing your penis.
Wow.
Okay. You're killing your penis. because your liver has to synthesize it. If your liver's out of balance because of it, and that anxiety that you get, that movement that you get now, that you got this energy, well, you insulting the liver's insulting the kidneys. The kidneys now is not maintaining the balance of the reproductive system. So with that happening, now the penis don't stand up no more.
What is andropause?
That's what we get in terms of our menopause.
Okay.
That was what I was looking for. I thank her for that.
Okay.
But that's basically what that is.
Okay.
Okay. Because we go through it as well. We just go through it differently.
Okay.
Women go through it where their menstrual cycle stops. They start to get hot flashes, mood swings. With us, we begin to have ED and other kinds of issues. And with those issues that we have, what we find and what we wind up dealing with is the factor of the body suffering from malnutrition. I just got to keep going back to that. Okay. And everybody now wants to be a vegan, and that's a good thing for some people. But that may also be a cause of you having ED if you have an ED and you're vegan.
Okay. So now explain about, I know we kind of talked about it as a child, but explain about the connection with the health if men are not having an erection when he wakes up at least 3 to 4 times a week. What is that? That
has to do with the decline of the body.
Okay.
That's what that has to do with.
Right. Huh? Naturally, if a man's healthy, he's gonna have a natural erection when he wakes up.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. And see, you got to understand that as we wake up with that erection, what's happening? What's happening is that now we got to urinate. So the kidneys are involved.
Okay.
I mean, just think about it. As a little boy, what happened? You get up, you standing straight up, and you head right for the bathroom.
Yeah, that's right.
You head right for the bathroom. Okay. Why? Because the kidneys elements then have done all that they can do, and now they're ready to clean the body. And so with that, they stimulate that energy going through the penis. And as they stimulate that energy going through the penis, what happens is that now you get up and you standing tall and you go in there and you drop that pee in the toilet. Oh, urination. You drop that pee in the toilet, and what happens? What happens now is that the moment you drop that pee in the toilet, everything starts to slowly come down. Okay, because that kidney did that stimulation. Okay. And so as we age, the kidneys, just like all the other parts of the body, begin to become deficient.
Okay.
And that deficiency now causes it so that you wake up in the morning and you're wondering where it's at.
Okay. Now, what about healing? What can we do to heal this issue? What is that we need to do to prevent it or heal? In other words, if someone's experiencing ED, can he heal that? Can he reverse that?
Sure.
Okay.
The first thing I would say is to take digestive enzymes.
Okay.
And probiotics. Start getting your digestive tract together.
Okay.
Eat some of the foods that I talked about. Okay. Because those are the foods that work for you. The cayenne pepper is cool. Sprinkle a little bit of cayenne pepper on the food. That's gonna help circulate the blood. Clean the blood. Because a lot of that has to do with nasty blood. If your abdomen is protruding, I'll be nice. If your abdomen is protruding, you need to sit on the toilet for a minute or two. You need to allow some of that to come out of you, because that's waste that's sitting up in there, and that waste that's sitting up in there is what's causing your penis not to get hard. If you got diabetes, you know, the piece of that is that the medication that you're taking, that could be causing you to have ED. So you might want to think about how you can reverse the diabetes. Okay, and there's ways to do that. Matter of fact, one of my books, my thesis was on diabetes, and so one of my books is about diabetes. I mean, you know, you want to do that. If you got arthritis, that's dead up a kidney issue because that's dealing with the bones.
Okay.
So you want to be able to create the balance for your organs. You want to eat foods that are local. Okay, cruciferous vegetables, especially if you don't have a thyroid issue. Cruciferous vegetables are things like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, endives, spinach, not spinach, kale. All of those are good foods to be eaten, and they'll help clean the body because they're going to bring in the chlorophyll and the magnesium, but they'll also work in such a way where they help the body so that you can have a healthy erection. I talked about the B vitamins. You might want to take the B vitamins, and especially if you're a person that is trying to get energy and you drinking them energy drinks, take the B vitamins. The B vitamins are going to be more helpful than them energy drinks. Okay. If you want to, what else? Taking things like sea moss. Matter of fact, I have a formula that has sea moss in it. But sea moss, when you take in sea moss during the spring and the summertime, and also in the winter, in the fall, you want to put grasses with it because of the fact that the grass is going to give you a lot more chlorophyll, where the sea moss is going to give you the minerals that you need. And Irish moss, dulse, those are part of it. Hajiki, you know, wakame. All of those, matter of fact, wakame, you can buy them now in the health food store in a little container, the strips, and just sit around and eat them. Dulse, you can put dulse, take dulse and buy dulse and use it like they use that jerk, what's that called? You know, you go buy one of them things like this here. What's that called? It's jerk something, but yeah, you can eat it just like that. I mean, and so with that, you know, that's going to give you minerals. You want to get minerals and vitamins in your body. There's a couple of products that I sell. One of them is called Male Toner, and Male Toner is for your entire body. It's not to maintain your erection, but it does. Okay. And it grows into your body, because what it does is it goes in and it starts to work the systems. Okay. And that's what you want. You want to work the organ systems. When you work the organ systems, then what happens is that now the body begins to function in a different manner. And with that, what you're looking at is that now you wind up having an erection. And that you have an erection that stands tall for a while. And from what the men who've taken it have told me is that it allows you to last longer, and it doesn't deal with the fact of draining your body. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you hydrate yourself. You know, you want to drink water. And again, stay away from them energy drinks. Them energy drinks is, if you drinking energy drinks, that tells you automatically that your body's not getting any nutrients. Okay. And so you're wearing your kidneys out.
Okay. Okay, Doc. Well, definitely, we have done a great bill. Where I just put up your website where they could find you, because actually you just mentioned some herbs and everything that I know you provide for anyone that has this problem. Let me ask you this question. A lot of women will talk about this more than men. Yeah. A lot of women will ask the question, what can you do for my man?
Right. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, that's their question. You know, their question is, what can you do for my man? You know, I love him. I want to be with him, but he ain't give me what I need in this area. So
Wow.
what can you do for him? You know, and the piece of that is the fact of that there's a lot that can be done, but it's about the brother wanting to do it.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, and that's the piece. I can imagine how frustrating it is when you start with a woman and then the next thing you know, you sleep and she's sitting there talking about what happened? What happened? Why you snoring? You got me all like this here, and now you snoring? Are you serious? You know, I mean, but that's, you know, that has to deal with the fact that he needs to maintain the balance of his body.
Okay.
Especially if he's a young man. Young men,
wow,
y'all supposed to be standing tall. You know, you ain't supposed to be. You supposed to be. Listen, you supposed to be standing tall. But the fact of the matter is that if you eating wrong, and you ain't standing up like that, then there's something wrong with what you're dealing with, and you need to change your eating habits.
Okay. Before I end up closing out, we got another topic coming up for next week. What is that?
It's on fertility.
Okay.
It's the balance. The balance of life is fertility.
Okay.
Okay. As I said earlier, you know, men start it and women nourish it. Okay. And there's too many women walking around with fertility issues. You know, there's just too many women walking around with fertility issues. From fibroids to just infertility. You know, and part of what I talked about this evening is part of their issue, but the other part of their issue is the fact that they have to deal with more body fluids than we do, and so their body's a lot more sensitive than ours.
Okay.
And so you know, they really have to look differently at how they carry themselves and the things that they wear.
Okay. Okay. All right, brother. Closing remarks. How would you want to close this?
What I would say is this. A man's balance is his strength in life. It's the balance of his will and the peace within his mind, so that the harmony of his heart can shine, which will bring about the tranquility of his being, that opens him for the love that comes from his spirit. See, because if we understand that, then that means that we begin to love ourselves. And when we love ourselves in that manner, then a lot of the mental stuff and physical stuff that we got going on reduces and or eliminates.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us. And as I started, I want to end with thanking those that made this happen. First, Attorney Carl Price with Conscience Fever, ICE Entertainment Radio, my friend Joe Tapper with the Tipping Point Morning Show, Frank Stoner with Health Daddy Wild, and my brother Kari Muhammad with Inredible Inc. Also, Phyllis Myers, Sayatia with Body Energy Works, and my brother here, Dr. Akmal. And we will be doing this every week, and we have a topic for you every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Again, share this post click subscribe and whatever you need to do to get notarized or get notifications on what we're doing here. We got some great building to do. Great conversation, brother. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.
Excellent. And I appreciate you and the people who are listening to us. Be well, enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health. Adabo.
Kadabo. Peace, brother.
Peace.